BBCers, welcome back for episode number 4 of Reddit Reacts, where we look at educational League of Legends posts scoured through the Reddit community, mostly going to be on Summoner School, but we're going to take a look at the main Reddit today as well. So let's jump in here. Our first one here, we already see, I think we should always go over the top post.
All right.
We'll just quickly think this is a really interesting... I think it's actually a bit of practical advice. You might have heard of this before, but just a reminder, do not give Bel'Veth objectives and deny them as much as possible. Specifically Riftchild. I did a review today or yesterday that you really cannot let that champ get Riftchild. But if that champ gets Riftchild, the champ becomes very difficult to deal with, and it does that double top strategy of breaking 2 towers. So I think this is actually good practical advice and remind. Let's say people are coming in, then let's say they haven't played League for a week. You know, they'll think this is actually pretty good advice. What do you think, Curtis?
Yeah, and look at the top comment here. I think the bigger thing is that she gets her true form from Drakes, Heralds, and Barons. Also, her true form from Heralds and Barons allows her to have babies. Yep. Without true form, Bel'Veth is met in 1v1 since she essentially doesn't have an R and she can't queue over walls.
That's right. That's huge.
That's massive, actually. Yeah.
So the true form, you want to definitely deny that as much as possible from Bel'Veth.
I mean, I think this is more of like a friendly reminder more than a post. So yeah,
that's what I think this Reddit is great
that's
for.
Great.
Stuff
good
like
practical advice. How exactly is Xayah balanced with Rakan? Do you want to go on that?
I don't think so.
Yeah. How to stop an over? That's a good question. Olaf Yuumi.
Okay, how to stop an Olaf and Yuumi. I just played a game of solo enduro and came up against an Olaf Yuumi on him after 15 minutes. He became literally impossible to kill and did 82,000 damage in 30 minutes. He didn't really stomp his lane either. It must have been an Olaf top.
Top Olaf, yeah.
What's the counterplay to this? I mean,
it's just...
Olaf Yuumi with so many champs can do this stuff. It's so game specific, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think this? I mean, let's look at the comments. I'm interested at the comments here.
That's that's the neat part. You try anti-heal.
People complain about healing.
Look, quite honestly, I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just Olaf Yuumi. It's tough. It's annoying. Yeah. I mean, if Olaf gets ahead,
Olaf Gwen, Yuumi
that's
Gwen.
The thing is that you got to either
Yuumi
shut
Echo.
down the Yuumi in the early game because it can it can get shut down, or you have to. I mean, Olaf, it just can't get ahead, right?
Yeah, well, it's just too general advice.
Just don't get to that point. It's like, ideally, why are we in that situation?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, by the way,
bring it back to the early game.
Yeah, if I'm in a game and we get to 15 minutes and the Olaf solo killed their lane, twice, and then Yuumi jumps on him in mid game, depending on my champion, sometimes it's like, I can't deal with that. I can't. It's either up to my 80 carry and maybe my 80 carry can maybe deal with that, or I kite back in a team fight, something like that. The only thing you can do, your mindset needs to be, how can I maximize my impact into this champion, right? So if I'm playing a mage, I'm thinking, okay, how can I build in a way that might cater for more extended fights and building Leandre's more, maybe telling my enchanter support to build Grievous Wounds or whatever it might be. And then I'm in the mindset of kiting back in team fights, making sure that we're not running into them, allowing them to come into us. Like, it's more of a mindset more than anything. That may work. It may not. You can only do how much you can, right? Sometimes you're just going to auto lose that game.
I mean, Olaf's a very kiteable. If you're sitting on towers, Olaf can't just dive.
Yep.
I mean, I guess he can with Yuumi if he's strong enough. But, the thing that I would love to see, if this guy, I don't know what role he was in this game, we looked at his game, looked at how many mistakes he made in the first 10, 15 minutes. It's just not the question to be asking.
Yeah. But sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, but I think sometimes, it's like, just do your best. That's my answer. Do your best. Kite, do the best you can. Move on. I think this is pretty straightforward. Sometimes as well, Nathan, sometimes there isn't a solution. Like, you just lose.
Yes.
Like, I think what people forget sometimes in games, like, there is counters to everything. Your champion can sometimes just be countered. That's it.
By like 4 champions in the game, and like no matter what you do, the game's just really
just lose.
Absolutely. It happens.
All right, don't want to go over this MF thing. Okay. This one might be interesting.
We're educational YouTubers, Curtis. 70% of educational YouTubers picking what games to upload.
Interesting.
Yes, they are. Of course. Let's have a look. Hello, I've just finished watching some coaching sessions and gameplay commentary, several YouTubers, but the one I remember was this person. This is, I don't know, this is no way aimed at him, but the larger community in general. It seems that for a large part of this kind of content where the uploader is commenting on the gameplay, the opponents are very often absolute trash. So this is just talking about, I think, just people smurfing low elo and stuff like that.
I know what it seems to be is that there's coaching content and they pick a VOD where like it's like a clean, it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
It's like a stomp and then you just got to translate.
It's an easy game.
It's an easy game to review.
I mean, so think about the way we make our guide. So I mean, so first put yourself in the YouTubers' perspectives, right? Like they want to show, it's sort of like a highlight reel, right? Like, so, you know, Instagram, that's what I view it. It's like a highlight reel. Like, let's say, I see a lot of those videos because when I did my Rek'Sai guide, I saw a bunch of Rek'Sai games, you know, like, because I want to see what sort of stuff's out there. Can I learn from any of these Rek'Sai YouTubers? What, you know, what content? And then, you know, I'll watch it. Like, this game is I reckon this guy sat there and recorded 7 games and he just chose the best one, uploaded and said, this is how to play Rek'Sai. And it was just he had like 2 win lanes. Yeah. Enemy jungler just fell over himself. Very easy game. There's nothing to explain how to play the champion at all. So, you know, for example, what I did in my Rek'Sai guide, you know, in our guides, we have lots of examples. We've had even examples of what not to do.
Yep, I have a fail montage.
That's right. A fail montage we like to put in there. You know, it's just a better way to explain how to play the champion. There's just stuff.
Okay, I want to. There's a lot here I want to talk about. First thing first, I want to talk about coaching sessions and the different type of coaching sessions some of us have. Now, we haven't spoken about this before. Now, I do actually upload on a second channel of mine, Midland Academy. I upload some of my coaching. So this guy, want to check it out.
Yeah.
So Midland Academy on YouTube, and you know. When we do our coaching sessions, Nathan, we have a wide variety of sessions. Some of them are a really simple 15-minute review where it's like, okay, we just go over the early lane, you're counted by their entire comp, you died once or twice, and now it's end of review. They can happen, right? It's just a really unsexy, some people might view that as shitty, but a quick, short, sharp, concise review. I had one recently with I think it was was it a Vigar or something? And no, it was a Vex into a Zed. He got he missed like his first 3 fears in the lane. He got chunked really early, got sent direct to base, and then he got solo killed at level 6. And I'm like, you're not a champion. Well, there's no
review.
There's no point going deeper in this. You don't.
Good.
The learning here is the Z specifics, and we went deep on the Z specifics.
Great.
We spoke about how to avoid the WQ, where we need to be directing our attention, how to be using our fear better. We spoke all about the lane and the matchup understanding. Now, if I were to upload that review, right, I could theoretically update that review, but it's a very niche little bit of learning. It's for those people who play Vex who want to understand how to lane better into Z. Now, would I want to upload that one? It's probably not the most valuable coaching session to upload because it's only going to help a very particular type of person. So then we have other coaching sessions where I have ones where they're 40-minute slog fest and we go deep into mid-game team fighting and macro and, you know, all team fighting. And, you know, sometimes they can be really good. Sometimes they can be completely useless. And then we have psychology ones. I've had ones where I barely even talk about the game. And we're just talking about stage 3 oriented problems like tilt and their relationship with the game and all that stuff. So what I'm saying is that there are so many different types of coaching sessions that we have. And it's hard to even pick. Like they're always going to seem like you're not going to get a single coaching session that has all the answers. And this ties back to now our YouTube content. You know, what I've noticed is that when you do a guide, there's no way you're going to figure out every single situation.
Of course not. No.
You know, we can only go through so many. And I think a big problem, right? Not a problem. I think what a lot of the mindset of these educational YouTubers are, it's like, okay, I'm just going to pick one situation. I'm going to show this one situation. And then this is how you win in this situation. And that might be correct, like that Rek'Sai. That actually might be correct in this situation. This is what you would do. But this is just one in 1,000 type of game states that you might find. And he's not explaining the overarching mindset, which is the most important thing. So what this guy's name is, Sekar. The problem isn't that they're cherry picking VODs. It's more that the VODs itself are okay, but they don't know how to teach. They don't know how to teach that effectively. So that what they're doing is they're not able to get across the mindset and the holistic underlying fundamentals of the champion that you can apply to multiple other game states. So let's say a Rek'Sai has 2 winning sides, right? In this thing that you watch. It might be good that if he notes, okay, because my top is winning here, I can do this. But if my top wasn't winning, I might be forced to think about that. You know, and he should theoretically speak about his mindset, but they don't think like that. They just want the cool, short, sharp, sexy content.
Yeah, the problem is the format. It's not with the YouTuber or anything itself. It's just the format, as you said, of picking the one game. This like league is. No,
but I even think the one
scenarios.
game is okay if you preface it by saying this is only one situation.
Yeah, but obviously it's labeled the guide and how to play this champ, right? That's
they don't label it like that. That's correct.
And that's not the mindset of it. But yeah, I think that's definitely a really good thing. It's like, yeah, league is just so complicated. There's so many factors.
You can't condense learning into one video.
No.
And that's actually, to be honest, that's one of the reasons I don't put as much content on my YouTube anymore. I kind of got demoralized because I would put all this effort into making a video. And then even then I'm like, there are so many other things I need to talk about here. Like in a way, sometimes I feel like I'm overwhelmed. Like I'm only giving you a very minimal slice or a minimal look into this situation. Like you need to watch 5 other videos after this to get what I really mean here. So otherwise my videos just go for 17 hours and I don't want to do that. It's hard. It's really hard to teach properly in a game that is so goddamn complicated. That's why I need to get into coaching with you. Just come to a session. It's just so much easier.
So much easier.
You know?
Get into the details.
I'd be interested to see what the comments are.
He says here, so has anyone else noticed this? I looked like his main point is that people upload showing really bad opponents.
Curated, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look what the comments are like. Top one here from Silver. Yes, of course they pick and choose the games to make themselves look better. That being said, they are still most likely still playing above your MMR, Swift, your what or whatnot. I recommend watching every coaching video, taking the information with a grain of salt. Every game is different and every lane matchup is different. Also, it's easy to say I'd never let anyone get away with that when in reality, 95% of the player base lets everyone get away with illegal shit all day.
That's correct.
Spot on. And every time I play Below Diamond, I'm amazed at what I can get away with. It's a lot easier to point out mistakes when watching a game back rather than playing in real time. Thank the Lord. What a beautiful comment.
Love it.
What a really, really amazing comment. This reminds me of Carbon. So Carbon is someone in OS. He works for...
He's an old man of the OS scene. He's an LCO.
He's a veteran of the
LCO manager.
LCO in OS. And he's also a pretty high elo player, been a pro player, ex-pro player. And I for some reason, I remember this discussion I had with him ages ago. And he said to me, one thing that isn't spoken enough about in competitive and when people watch other pro players is that they underestimate the fog of war. Like we can sit here, right? Like even when we're coaching, we can sit there and our attention is able to look at everywhere. I can look at top, bot, jungle. I'm tracking the jungler. I can do all of this because I don't need to CS. I don't need to trade. I don't need to do jack shit. Right? The fog of war is not even that impactful because I kind of see everything. But when you're in the game, you're clueless. Like a lot of the time, you don't know jack shit. So when you're people fundamentally disrespect fog of war and especially, you know, what a lot of the VODs are on like, for example, when you watch like Client, they have the all vision on.
Yeah, the all vision. I'd never do that. It's crazy people do that.
It's crazy.
I always will only go to your vision because it's so, it baffles my brain why anyone would ever do that.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a very, very, very big difference in terms of doing and watching.
Yes.
Yeah. But do you think that people pick games to make themselves look better?
Of course, dude. I mean, you know, we got to think about it. It's perception. You know, if yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on.
I remember I got flamed. I made a guide, right?
Yeah.
One of my guides. I put in, I was playing TF. Yeah, and then with Cadril. Cadril literally meme me on stream. I put in my guide a situation where I was like roaming as TF and I did like a really good roam. And like I misclicked the blast cone and rather than going over the wall, like it went up. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave it in there because I'm not a robot. Like I don't play the game flawlessly. And this is not the reason. I mean, I got challenger with TF.
That's not the point of the situation you were trying to explain.
That's not the point at all of the situation.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I'm like, oh yeah, this would have been a kill. But I misclicked the blast cone. And it's so interesting because out of that entire, it was like a 2.5 hour TF guide. he found that one moment and then laughed at it and then ha 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 and clicked off of it. And it always stuck in my mind. It's like people, if a lot of YouTubers actually feel insecure about showing their bad content because that's what people focus on.
Their bad plays.
You all here are saying, oh yeah,
I want to see
you fuck up. No, you don't, because if you saw that, you're going to click off of it anyway.
Because you say the player sucks.
It's so interesting because viewers are not aware of what they actually want to see. Like there's a very big gap in terms of what they want to see and what they really are willing to, what they should see. And like again, same thing happened when I made my video on talking about the Reddit, reacting to Reddit. I literally prefaced the video saying, I'm purposely not interacting with the enemy, not using my flash aggressively. I literally said, I'm basically playing co-op versus AI here. And I still had people in the comments abusing me saying how bad I am in the game. Still. It's incredible. So YouTubers in the comments and Redditors are the most critical of YouTubers, content creators' level of play.
So they're forced to cherry pick.
They're forced in a way just out of insecurity a lot of time. I'm just playing devil's advocate here to being a YouTube content creator. We get abused by YouTube. I get abused in the YouTube comments out of like 3-hour VODs, and I've showed you all this information. You still shit talk me. You know, it's like you can't. I remember, and then I said the last one. There's a bit of a vent here. LS, right? I had all this beautiful content on my YouTube. I made one video that was like the one video I spoke about draft, like 2.5 years ago. And this video was talking about how I perceive draft. Well, draft is already a very like subjective thing. And then he basically clicked on that one video and then like roasted that one video. Like, think about that. Think about the mindset. Like I'm a YouTube content trying to give value, and the one video the one little thing that can be nitpicked, it gets nitpicked.
And then your identity is you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, my identity is labeled off that. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Out of all the videos that have got myself to high rank and my clients to high rank, you just ignore all that stuff and just go to the one thing that you did wrong. It's just crazy. So like, yeah, I can see both sides. I can see the viewer and I can see from the content creation side, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yes. The social media and the public space is definitely very, you see lots of things and people are very critical these days. I once got banned by a streamer for calling him out for doing this. He said that games on his main account had not gone well that week, so he asked if his viewers who wanted to do some sub games, he took 9 viewers into a custom match, his challenger, they're all gold, silver. So he made a video about that.
Yeah, I mean, these people do exist.
Yeah.
These people exist. I mean, there's a
he went like 24-2 on some weird pick and he planned on posting to YouTube. It was a secret pick for free Elo.
Guys, you guys are the idiots for clicking on that shit.
Yeah.
Like really, how silly do you have to be? You're going to click on a video where who goes 24-2 in a game? Like who goes 24-2 on Fiddlesticks support or Fiddlesticks 80 carry or some bullshit, whatever the guy's playing? Like come on, like use your brain. The thing that looks sexy is probably not the most educational thing. Go on again, I mean, I'm going to shill my own content here. Like I have a boring ass videos that go for 3 hours. Nathan has like 2.5 hour Rek'Sai guy. There's a lot of boring crap there, but you know what guys? It works. But do people click on that shit?
No.
We have the guys I put a month to work in don't even get that many views.
These
people don't click on it. We make the content, it just doesn't get clicked on. You're the guys that are feeding these people by clicking on it.
That's right.
You're the one clicking on
exactly
it.
Right.
Don't click on it. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Right? It's so interesting. And it's so easy to not, you like look at the VOD and then you like look at this guy have a perfect cherry pick VOD. It's like obvious to see. Why? Just go next.
But it's too late, Curtis. They've clicked on it.
They've already watched the ad.
They've got the view.
Rewarded them.
That's right.
Yeah. True. Bloody hell.
This is a very venting episode for Curtis, yeah.
I mean, I can see both. I mean,
here we go. Shit stomping Eagles views. This is why I mainly just try sticking with Coach Curtis for informational stuff. He loves the game and doesn't care for the loss of the views. Look at that. 140 upvotes, Curtis.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell you what, Charlie, can you control F and type in Curtis? Yeah. I'm curious. Let's see. Let's see how many times Curtis mentioned. 15 times. Oh, Curtis is pretty fluffy too.
Apparently, I'm just fluffy. I would agree with that.
Okay.
I think I can be fluffy sometimes. I think in my older videos I was.
Yeah.
I don't think anymore.
Look, there's Cupcake there.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm my biggest critic. I agree. What is this? Yeah, I mean, look. What about Nathan? See if Nathan's here.
Let's see. I don't think I'm as popular as Curtis here. Oh, one.
Where is it?
Ah. Is it bugged?
Nathan Mott.
I don't know how to work.
All right, don't worry about it.
It's there somewhere.
Someone's here somewhere.
All right, I've got one.
Yeah, and
One
look,
fan.
I agree. Like, but the thing is where do you draw the line though? As well, that's why it's hard as a content creator. Like, you got to find that fine line between keeping it fun and keeping it moving, but also getting across the information. I feel as though when I watch as well, I think Cupcake has some really great content, but I can see how he's at that stage of his journey where with Cupcake's content, he's still. It reminds me of myself like a year ago, a year and a half ago. Like, it takes time to make really good quality guides on video, like long form content. I wasn't good at it 2 years ago. Now I think my guides are way better, my recent long form content. But before that, my earlier guides, there was a lot of fluff. And that's why I actually switched my format, by the way. It was all text and now I just do clips, spam clips.
So the fluffy is the text stuff.
And I'll just waffle on.
But gameplay, nitty gritty gameplay.
Need examples.
Okay, yeah.
Like the Rek'Sai guide, you did a shit ton of clips.
Yeah.
No, very minimal text.
Yeah.
That's a way better way to teach.
Okay.
If you were to say all those examples with text, say, okay, let's imagine if Rek'Sai is doing this and this and that, it's so hard. It's too theoretical.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I think I never really thought about it. I think we just gravitated that way. We just need to see specifics, right?
I think I realized that when I was doing I remember I did my Zed and Kiana guides. I'm like, I got to show clips here.
Yeah, my first guide Xin Zhao was a shit ton of text. Yeah, you're right. It was.
My early TF guide is so much text.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's move on.
So moving on here, next one. Okay, this is a good question. I want to talk about this one quickly. Be really quick. The tier one.
Very specific.
Why the heck do people start tier when you can get it on first back? So, tier start on 80 gems is complete garbage. You lose lane for what? Getting Muramana at 21 minutes? No, that's not what it's all about. I agree. It doesn't give any combat stats, but you got to remember it actually gives you a lot of mana. It's a lot of mana. So it's actually sometimes if your champ is very mana intensive or you're not taking that much damage and you have the range advantage, you can actually utilize tier really effectively. It's not about the stacking at all a lot of the time. It's purely because it actually gives a lot of
initial mana.
Yeah.
What type of champions? I
mean, I can't really speak for in bot lane, but especially in mid, it's quite big. Mana issues early, like the top comment. For example, if I'm playing Orianna, sometimes it's objectively you can easily go tier start. It's free. You don't need the AP. It gives you a lot of mana. I do it on Cassio. Same reason. I don't need the HP or the AP from Doran's Ring. I'd rather just start with my tier. I actually have more, and funnily enough, I have more kill threat with tier rather than Doran's. Because
you have more mana pool to
spam QEs.
Yeah.
If I were to go Doran's, I have less kill threat because I need the mana to actually kill that person, the max mana. So yeah, on some champs that need the full mana, it's actually quite big. So yeah, that's the way to think of it. That's why people do it.
And the top comment was saying that people who have mana issues early.
Yep, mana issues. It's not about the stacking at all. That's not why people do it because it doesn't really change anything. By the time you get your Archangels or your Muramana, it will be too late. Let me move on. I think that's all I wanted to talk about that one. You want to go this one? Yeah.
I hate maths ones.
What? Did you see this?
No, this is, we linked this. Did we?
Did we?
I think I linked this too.
I mean, we're mentioning it, so let's
okay.
Let's click on it.
Coach Curtis and Nathan Mott recruit an AD support and top for like-minded players.
So I'm a newer player. I play 80 carry. Basically talking about Broken by Concept here. I wish there were other people that played the roles that we don't cover. Essentially, the champion guides is something they're looking for. Because people don't make guides on them. I understand I'm a bit weird being an analytical 80 carry player, but there's really a lack of content that appeals to me for these. And look at that down the bottom. I know I can't be alone here, so if either of the BBC folks read this, I think it would be helpful for a lot of new players if you did find some people for these roles that fit your mindset.
So what do you reckon? Should we recruit Curtis? We need to recruit some people.
I mean, we're already Cupcake. Cupcakes, I reckon, filled that support role.
He's our support go-to guy.
100%. He's got amazing content.
This is an interesting top comment. Curtis has said before that the reason no one else makes champs guys like that is that no one watches them and he only does it because he's passionate about going in depth about champions.
Well, don't need to be clear here. It's actually because it's the only thing that gets results. That's a better way to frame it.
Yes.
It's a non-negotiable. It's like I can either do a guide
or you make a video about you playing one time
but doesn't work, or a guide that actually works. What's more satisfying for me?
It's about...
I don't want to waste someone's time like watching 40 minutes I'd rather put the 2.5 hour thing out and get results, right?
I guess it's level of integrity, your integrity for yourself.
Yep. Yeah, Cupcake. That's the way to go. I don't think there is an 80 carry or top one out there.
A lot of people mention XFSN Sabre.
I used to recommend him, but he devolved, dude. He back in the day, he did, but he kind of went to shit. I think he went down that streamer route, which is understandable. Again, you make more money that way.
That's right.
You go into the big life.
The clickbait videos.
Yeah.
The one game videos.
Yeah. But I don't really know many.
Look, there we go. That's our producer, Coach Charlie.
Charlie did some amazing guides as well. He had like an alley guide, right?
Yeah, made like Karma and Alistair.
Yeah. So
would we recruit people, Curtis? Would we recruit people to copy our academies? So Cupcake.
I mean, again, it's a bit of mindset, man. Yeah. It really is a mindset. Cupcake kind of had that mindset. I mean, you need.
Cupcake was a player, yeah.
But it's hard. It's really.
So you're saying it's hard to find people with the same similar share views? Isn't it? People always say you got to get people with different views. I mean,
look at this. Look at this Hailfire.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go. I love both Curtis and Nathan, but I think it's actually something they themselves should embrace, a universal message, even if they're the only coaches to those two roles. The fact is the BBC and the message that advocate is not tied to a role. It's an entire belief system surrounding what it means to take the game seriously and develop a positive relationship with it, 100%. League is an unimaginably powerful tool for someone to develop their mental and emotional awareness with regard to overcoming adversity in an environment that can influence, yet never control wholly. Yep. I used to be a member of the MLA, but I was actually removed from the program because I couldn't commit to the work, and it was because I'm not a mid laner, and it was impossible to get myself to play high quality games in mid. But I still follow the message to this day, and I now apply it in top lane to my best self, and it is just as true as if I was playing mid, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't need more people on this podcast. Curtis and I, we just share our thoughts. And again, it's not so much role specific.
Yeah.
We do get role specific sometimes.
Yeah.
We would never think about doing this because, we just answer questions and we just, we have guests obviously, but we don't need.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think we will.
Nathan's not even put out content. I mean, he's somewhat true there.
I think if we saw a channel that we respected, we'll talk about it. Right.
That's right.
If we saw an 80 carry or content that we like, we'll push it.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.
We get asked all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. All right.
Next post.
Okay. This might be interesting.
Let's take a look.
Does anyone else fear a teammate getting too fed too early? I have seen it too many times. A player that gets really fed early in the game, and it scares me, especially when it's a mid or 80 carry. At a certain point, they lose focus of winning the game by making smart plays and start chasing kills. It happened again tonight with my mid lane, and they had 18 kills before they ever did any damage to their tier 2 tower, and they were all over the map chasing kills. Then our top lane started running around them with mid lane. Meanwhile, the top just keeps farming and killing towers. Then our mid dies after starting 24-0 to start the game, and then it's only focused on chasing down the guy that killed him for the rest of the game, and he dies a few more times. Top's following, he dies as well. We stop getting drags because the rest of the team is doing everything else we can to defend the base. The other team takes objectives, steamrolls us late. I see 2 or 3 games a week like this, and I always try to encourage them to keep their focus on the win, but they rarely do, and it hurts more to lose an easy win than if you're just getting stomped all game. It's interesting. I say it's the further ahead you are, the worse people play.
That's right. Because everyone checks out. Everyone thinks the game's won.
And
give up.
I spoke about this story once in the MLA with Milk Puddle where he was making his climb harder because he was getting so far ahead. Like I taught him the early game so much, and he was so good at like solo killing people. He would head into mid game with like a 700 gold shutdown, die once, and the game was just over, which is hilarious. What What do you think about this, Nathan?
Well, so he frames the title. Does anyone else fear a teammate getting too fed early? I definitely don't fear it as a jungler. I'm using that to my advantage. I'm winning a game here. That's fantastic. But I mean, yeah,
deal with it.
I would say that there's definitely an element of like the player psychology. Like, let's say if specifically, let's say AD carries in general are known to be very good at not playing the map and more so, running around getting kills. Because it's very fun. When you're an AD carry, you have 3 items. You think you're invincible, right?
But also, AD carries aren't incentivized, especially in the early game, to think holistically about the game because all they need to do is think about their lane and CSing and resetting.
So, but if you see them looking to fight all the time, then it's you might have to do suboptimal things, to be or hover them and be around them. You need to sort of adapt. This is where we talk about the flexibility, the Bruce Lee mindset of the broken by concept is flowing like water, adapting, like reading the body language of your teammates. Then you need to be there around because
understanding the tendencies of your teammates.
That's right. Yes. So, I wouldn't fear it. I'll be ready to adapt to it.
And then you've basically got 2 tools in your kit. One being the adaptation and kind of going with whatever they're doing. And then 2, stepping up and trying to make calls way in advance to try and
control them,
bring them back in, reel them back in,
Control them as a unit.
That's right. And say, look, a minute out from drag, we need this dragon, ping for dragon, assist for like, let's group for this. Or Baron, let's Baron on spawn. But, whatever it is you need to do.
I told the other thing that I always talk about in reviews. I'm just reading this comment here. I've also had this phenomenon where entire teams that get ahead too fast. In this case, it usually happens around the mid game where everyone pushes beyond the first base tower inhibitor. The 16 to 20 minute mark of the game is like, if you guys pay attention to this, because sometimes you feel like, sometimes you feel like the game's ahead of a time than it actually is. The 16 to 20 minute mark this is when you throw leads because there's no Baron up. The second the dragons usually aren't up and stuff like that.
You can't do much.
I mean, I've reviewed so many games, especially my high elo clients, me, Will, we can have really good early games and I've thrown games because of just that 4-minute period.
Yeah.
Because nothing happens.
Bait Baron.
Nothing happens there. You literally have to do nothing and don't fight.
One pragmatic thing that you can do if you're ahead, if you can do this one thing, I swear this will save you games. Ping back and tell your team to reset if they're overstaying on the map. So let's say you ace them. And then you break tier 2 mid. If you all reset after that tier 2 mid, after you ace them at 16 minutes or 17 minutes, and you ping back, reset, you back, you spam ping, back, reset, and you start resetting and you get your team to reset, you won the game there. If you can do that. It's hard to do, but if you can do that, it's massive. Prevent it, because what's people's default response? Tier 3. Just go to the tower in front of them.
That's right.
Next tower.
Yeah.
No, I don't want any tower damage here. We're either getting the tower fully or we're not getting it at all.
We're fighting because you have to put yourself in the enemy shoes as well. This is why I say the 16 to 20 minute mark. The only way the enemy team gets back is fighting, and there's no loss of dying in that fight. Dying, think about it. Let's say if you're so far ahead, you've broken, let's say, all the outer towers. There's nothing to lose from the enemy team. They can just keep running at your face, getting shutdowns, and suddenly they're even. So put yourself in the enemy team's shoes. That's sort of thinking, what's the enemy team's win condition here? Rather than thinking about I'm just fed, I win the game.
Yeah. Then we move on. They're pretty straightforward. I want to go just one last one. There was one more post below this I suppose I want to quickly touch on before we move to the main Reddit. This one. When to follow your laner versus just pinging, missing, and danger. So I don't even want to read this post. I just kind of want to just talk about this topic quickly.
Yep.
This is actually, I believe, one of the most complicated and niche topics in the game. I've had so many reviews. I had one this morning, straight up. Master tier client, he plays Akali. He's getting shoved in by Yasuo. And Yasuo shoved and bounced. Wave was bouncing out. And his team starts, Vi invades the enemy Bel'Veth on the blue buff. He's on blue side. They invade the blue buff of the Bel'Veth. And he was thinking, what do I do? Do I move because the wave's bouncing out? And do I help my team on that blue buff? Do I try and fight the Yasuo to prevent Yasuo from moving? Do I stay mid and ping back? What do I do? And this is someone that, his name's The Grinder. His name's legit The Grinder.
His identity
is The Grinder. He's reviewed so many games. He's got the champ mastery. And he's someone that I've done many, many, many reviews with over months and months and months. And even me looking at it, it took me a while to figure it out. Like these are situations that it is all situational, case by case. What's going on with the waves? What are the champions? What's the psychology of your opponent? And in this case, what I said was you can't afford to go to this play because if you die here, you're not only dying, he actually traded 1-for-1, but he lost like 3 ways mid.
Oh no.
And I'm like, it's not worth it. Yeah, you might like trade, get kills here and maybe not get flamed by your team, but you're losing 3 ways mid. Nothing is worth that.
No.
Nothing is worth that.
It's the cost analysis, right?
It's cost analysis. And what I said, what you could do here is he should have just traded heavy on the Yasuo and just traded HP, kept the Yasuo kind of interested, like screw with him, fuck with him. And then that way you would have like kept the jungle kind of isolated and then maybe Yasuo moves, but then he's chunked, has no win wall or something. And then you try and get mid wave out, whatever, ping back, do what you can. Yep, maybe 2 of your teammates die. But in that situation, it's probably better because you're on a Kali. You can't afford to get behind. You would have missed 3 waves otherwise. You can't afford to do that. But that's a very niche situation, right? It really depends. It really, really, really depends on the situation at hand. So don't try to find a cookie cutter situation. Like I believe here the top comment, Charles, if you scroll down, was something like almost never. I mean, that's not right. That's not right at all. I've never thought like that. It's if I were to like give it a percentage, I would say 70% of the time move. And then 30% not, or maybe 60% of the time move and 40% not, something like that.
So to clarify, this is like you're a mid laner, your opponent is moving, and then do you follow or not?
And like I've got a wave coming into me, and do I give the wave and do I follow? Generally speaking, I would most of the time move, but only 60-40. But like again, it just depends on the champ you're playing. So guys, do what Nathan said, cost analysis, visualize the alternatives. How would it play out if you did that? What would it felt like if you did that? What would it be if I was the enemy? What would my mindset be like? What would I want to do? It really is dependent. So don't even try to don't be general when it comes to this, is what I'm saying. You can't answer this question on Reddit.
No, this is not.
I need to see the clip.
That's right.
I need to see the examples.
There's so many situations.
And then sometimes it's like, why am I even in this situation?
Yeah. I'll find a scenario where, let's say the enemy mid lane is like really strong, right? Let's say I've got a KO who's like pretty far behind. I'm like going to a play, their mid laners come in. Like if my mid laner came in, it would be a numbers advantage if the enemy jungler's not there. We could win it, but like they don't come because they're not assessing the situation properly. And then we could have shut and won the game there because the enemy mid laner who's fed is actually making a mistake. But they got in the mindset, I'm a KO, I should just sit in lane and farm, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you got to be adaptable.
Yeah, that's so many specific situations.
So many situations. I think we go to the main Reddit. That's what I wanted to go there. So there might be nothing here, Nathan.
All right, we're going to
see how we go.
Take a deep dive on /r League of Legends.
So we'll go, top this week. There was one I think we might be able to look at. May or may not be here. Scroll down a bit. No. No, everyone's memeing Rise because he's so weak. Nah. This is all useless. No one talks to no. Okay, this one might be interesting. This is not what I was meaning, but this one might be interesting. Hey, do you want to take this one?
My 8-year-old daughter asked me why there are no girls on LOL pro teams. This morning, while getting ready to my kids to school, I had a LOL esports playing on the TV. My 8-year-old daughter dropped the bomb on me. Mummy, why are there no girls in LOL tournaments? I dodged the question because we were running late for school. Today, they went to school with the mission of figuring out which friends have PCs at home. They were so excited while I had a heavy heart. I myself want to be a pro at some point. So this is obviously, it sounds like the mum. But not for LOL, so I know a little what they will face. Anyone have thoughts they want to share, personal experience, got feelings, good reads? I would recommend watching our episode with Gabby and Kitty about deep diving into the problems and the challenges that a female faces in League of Legends. I don't really want to go into it. I think just go watch that episode. Everything's there.
Everything is in that episode.
We've got 2-3 hours.
It's a bit of an uncomfortable conversation, parts of it.
Yeah.
But I would check that out. There's a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah.
I think there was one more post here on the Reddit that I wanted to it might be good. Keep going. No.
The title
Yeah,
of
this
that-
is it. This
Oh,
is
here we
it.
go.
I'll read this one out. Hey, KindAzir here. Getting something off my chest. Hello, fellow summoners. It's me, KindAzir. As an Azir 1 trick for several years, 1.3 million mastery points, peaking at 460 LP master. Potentially possible to get the challenger at the end of the season with a 54% win rate overall. Thousands of hours, hundreds of hours of frustration, and instant gratification. Still addicted, trying to get better and reaching challenger. A rank in a video game that gives you nothing in the end. Spending 6 to 12 hours a day in Summoner's Rift. I have to quit. Sadly, I have to quit. My brain tells me to grind more. One more game. Don't quit. You are good. You're in the top 0.05% of all players on the server. You play with the Baus, Nuguri, Brox, etc. You can get this, but it won't give me anything in the long run. I'm not a streamer, not a YouTuber. I don't get money for all these hours. I can't buy myself a better life off of it. And mostly, I don't pursue a career in gaming, so why bother? Anyone who is reading this, stop playing if it consumes your real life. I know it's super hard. You will fall back once or twice because it's addictive to be good in a competitive game. I want to say thanks to all the great OTPs I've met, the good junglers, the kind supports, the 80 carries. Thanks to the designer of this miracle of a champion. I love Azir. Thanks to all reading this. It's time for me to leave Summoner's Rift. It's time to let go. You can too if you need or want to. Okay.
All right, so the first thing that I'm looking at here is the quote saying, you didn't want to play because it consumes your real life. Where was that specifically?
Yeah, anyone who's reading this, stop playing if it consumes your real
Yes,
life.
absolutely. You know, like real life takes
Agreed.
priority. You know,
Totally
so
agree.
you know the message that Curtis and I preach, what we view League of Legends, it's a fantastic hobby outlet for a competitive drive and just learning how to learn, getting good at something, putting it, because you know there's not much things like, you know, you could do sports, but you know the cool thing about League though is like you can just fire up your computer. You don't have to put
so
up gear.
convenient.
It's so convenient. You know, you jump in. It's a huge community as well. You can just jump on. It's all online.
Meet
Like the
friends.
world's online. You know, sports is fantastic as well. I'm definitely would love to get a sport as a hobby. I used to do lots of sports back in my day, but League's just, I mean, it's just so fun, so convenient. It's just the ultimate game. You know, gaming's obviously really big these days. So yeah, that's the, you know, we definitely not telling people to play League and make your life consumer. That's not the message.
It's all about
here.
your relationship with the game.
Relationship with the game, that's
and
right.
understand why you play.
That's right.
I think, you know, I think that for him, it seems like it wasn't really ticking any boxes. You know, it doesn't seem like he wanted, it doesn't seem like he could balance it in his life. He was obviously addicted. It wasn't really just for that competitive outlet. It just seems like he was actually ruining his life. It had a negative impact on his life, and it can very easily
Absolutely.
have a big time negative effect on your life. So I think that, you know, this is a good reminder, you know, that it can have a negative impact in your life. And if you're watching this now, we say this time and time, it's a good reminder. Ask yourself, why am I playing League?
That's right.
What purpose does it serve in my life? Is it a hobby? Do I do it as an outlet, a competitive outlet? Do I do it because I want to develop my, you know, my emotional regulation, become more mentally strong? Do I want to prove myself, develop a growth mindset? There's all reasons you can play League, but you got to be honest with yourself.
So I love this line as well, saying a rank in a video game that gives you nothing in the end. That's actually a really good perspective. You know, at the end of the day, you know, you could, let's say 10, 30, 20 years, 30 years from now, you know, you still probably have the link to your OPGG with Challenger every season, but it's not about that. It's about, you know, the things you learned about yourself.
It's not about the rank itself. It's everything that goes into it.
That's right.
Right? It's everything that goes into it.
Knowing you tried really hard, the satisfaction you got, the enjoyment of the process, the journey. Like League is
But you can
so
say that
fun.
about so many things, right? Like
It's pointless at the end of the day, right? I mean,
a
you're
lot of
dead,
the things we
right?
do are completely
Yeah,
pointless.
that's
It's
right.
all just ego, and it's all just,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, you could say that about literally anything. I mean, you could say that about, like, why would I drive a Tesla when I can drive my Toyota Corolla? I'm still getting from A to B. I mean, ultimately, they
It's
still
like
give
the
me
feeling that Tesla
the
gets all
feeling I get
their
when I get in
identity.
that car, how I feel as a person because of it, or maybe it's just something I'm passionate about.
I'm part of that community.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it
thing
means-
that I love about our community is MLA and Soul too. It's like, you know, a lot of people, I find that, you know, they end up being there. They just love reviewing games with each other and just being around each other. And it's just a great social, awesome thing, you know, and they're also being competitive
Yeah,
as
there's
well.
a bunch of people in the ML that don't even get reviews at this
Yeah.
stage and just chill for the community.
Yeah.
They talk about the game, they have fun. That's it.
League's it's a great community.
But like-minded people who wanted to better
It's
their
your hobby.
Yeah, they wanted to better themselves through the game and not just have if you're going to spend all the time on a hobby, you know, better do it with people that you can respect and also want to get something out of it.
That's right.
So, I mean, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to bring this one up because I thought it was a good reminder.
That's right.
It's a good reminder. I think we should, I think we are obliged, we're obligated to raise this again and again and again.
Yes.
Because we don't want people to be addicted to the game.
No.
We have that whole episode on addiction. Good reminder.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. That's it for Reddit Reacts episode number 4. Good work, everyone. We'll see you next time on our Reddit Reaction BBC editions.